All right. Hey everyone, welcome. You have found us. It is the island of misfit toys, and you are absolutely in the right place. I know it's not all the same faces you're used to seeing, but you're in the right spot. We're here tonight. We're going to enjoy our time with you. I'm going to silence my phone because I did that like a rookie and didn't. There we go. Anyway, so we actually have one new face. Felicia's been with us before, but Therese, you haven't been. So you want to introduce yourself to everyone and sort of,
Yeah. I'm Cherise Fonts. And oh my gosh, I just like to tell people I'm human. I think that's the first thing to know about me is I'm human. And I'm a birth doula. So I use a lot of birth analogy. I am a crazy plant lady, crystal carrier, just so excited to be here. I've watched you guys before and this is awesome. So thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. And, as we usually do, we'll just sort of check in, see how everybody's week has been. How's everybody doing?
Fabulous.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. Just came off the Easter weekend and spent time with the fam, walking in nature. But what was really special, y'all, really special. My husband and I have been together for 23 years. Wow. And on this walk, he busted out the shirt that I bought him with my nickname on it, like when we first got together. Tag in my territory kind of thing.
Oh my gosh.
I was in the closet, he was in the closet, and I looked and I was like, he was just kind of posing. I was like, oh, look at you. So I still got it. Look at that.
That's adorable. I love that.
Yeah, so it was a special little moment. And of course, the walking and hanging out and all that, but that was definitely the highlight.
That makes me smile ear to ear. I love it.
Yes.
How about you, Jairus? How's your week been?
Week been great. Y'all know I'm celebrating a birthday Sunday. So I've been just rocking and rolling, taking things easy, dodging all the hard work, getting my rest, dodging the bad energy and the bad vibes. I haven't been active, like I usually have been, but I've just been taking care of myself.
Yes.
That whole self-care piece that we have to work hard. Kelly's here.
Oh, what's up, Kelly?
Hey. Okay, I don't have to do it all. That whole self that we've been conditioned to apologize for, huh? That whole thing. Yeah. Kelly, you want to share about your week? We were just sort of getting started.
Yeah, it's been good. Busy, but good. I'm feeling like I'm super productive, getting stuff done. I don't know. Just kind of, I felt like I was drowning for a long time, and I've risen above it.
Amazing. Oh, sorry, girl. Love it. Yeah, it seems like everyone's sort of the energy tonight is higher than we were last week. I know last week we were all, sort of a little bit lower energy, and it seems like everyone's had that week that re-energizes you at least a bit. So I'm happy to see that, and we can talk about anything, but one of the things that was on my mind, it was exactly that, how to protect your energy, how to not end up that drained, how to enter into a situation where maybe there's negativity or somebody else is going through something healing, where they're really sucking energy in off of the people around them because they need it. How do you protect yourself? How do we keep from, burning out, feeling exhausted and all those things? So if that's of interest to anyone.
Yeah, that's right on my alley.
Jump right in.
Because was you saying something, Felicia? Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
In agreement, like.
Oh, okay. It's right up my alley because I didn't realize, like, I'm always overextending my energy for everybody else. And I was talking to Mike, shout out Mike, and he was like, "Man, you got to stop doing that. Like, energy is your." I think he was talking to you, Nancy, or maybe Jen. Like, we just been rolling so much, and he was just like, "Protect your energy. That's your most sacred thing," So I just got to thinking about that. Then I heard my cousin say the other day, he said, man, I'm going to stop letting people get us off our balance. Like, you know, we try to stay centered. If it was like a center thing, right? I try to stay centered. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, sometimes you can go this way. Sometimes you may go that way, right? But not trying to go too far over this way and not trying to go too far over that way. But trying to kind of being in the balance, creating my peace. And I had to realize that the people around me, their actions can affect me unless I choose for that to happen, because most of the time it's not like it's anything confrontational. It's stepping away from me instead of just, you know, getting mad or getting upset. I've just been practicing, you know what? All right, just give me a minute to kind of step off and get back centered, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And so is there anything, and before we move on, like, how do you protect your energy? Does anyone have a way they use to protect their energy, and you know, what kind of situations? Because yeah, it's easy, especially I am definitely an empath and feel people's shit. And I'm usually really good at like not taking it in or on. But if I'm tired, if I'm run down, if I'm exhausted, that's so much harder for me to do. And then I really feel it.
I will say that I feel I do a really good job at protecting my energy. In fact, I learned this a long time ago. Many years ago, I used to have like what I would call a meltdown every 90 days, like clockwork. And it was like, call my mom, the sky is falling, everything's ending. And then I got involved into energy meditation, and I never had them since. And I learned that the energy is the best, is what really creates the vibration and the frequency that you are running, and your frequency, your vibe creates that manifestation. So I've been very mindful of that. So I have 5 kids and my husband, and one of the ways that I protect my energy is I go on solo retreats, or I'll go out by myself and do grounding or burn incense and different things like that. In fact, I just got back from a solo retreat, 5 days, no kids, no husband. And I'm just like, what's next? Like nothing, literally nothing can penetrate this high vibration that I have. But I'm very mindful of, if I get off of a call, did that make me feel good or not make me feel good? Like, is my vibe high or is it low? And I try and avoid that next time. Or I'll burn, I'm not even kidding, y'all. I have like my abalone shell and my root of sage, and I'm like, if I know I'm about to, there you go. If I know I'm about to have a difficult, or like somebody, yeah, there you go. I'm burning. You know, they don't even need to know what's happened. I'm burning over here. And it's like, that is how I protect my energy, because it is the most important thing that you have. It really navigates you through so many of the ebbs and flows of life, because life is not linear. And so when you protect your energy, you're able to go on that ride, but not feel like you're being dragged along. So those are some of the ways that I do that. The highest and most important thing to me is my energy.
I just started learning about, and I'm going to be training in shadow energy. So that's exciting to me, because that's the stuff that's sort of that silently driving the bus piece that I think is really important and happens for many of us, and learning how to not shift the emotion. Like if you feel anger, breathe, and you're going to calm down because you've changed the emotion at that point. But how do you sit in the anger, make space for it, examine it a little bit, see what's going on, so that you can actually process it, to be okay, to be able to create the safe space for that to happen in, that really clear, open, safe space. And that again requires that I am grounded, requires that my energy is totally on point. And so, for me to be the best me and offer the highest level of support that I can to anyone, right, means that that's the place I need to be in. I need to protect my energy. But I'm really loving this, the the idea of shadow work. I think, having the history that I do for a very long time, there was, all this stuff that was driving the bus that I wasn't even aware of. It just kicked in. And again, being able to stay in that feeling, not shifting it. I think that's something a lot of us do is like, okay, I'm feeling angry. I'm going to calm down, right? Great and all, except for you never dealt with that anger.
So I want to know, is there a mathematical formula to your retreat? Is it 1 day per kid?
That's actually very smart. There's a little there.
How much is it for a husband?
And the dog and the lizard. No, I go once a quarter minimum, and my husband actually goes too. So that was a struggle to try and get him to go because, his he's like, I'm a dude. I don't work on my self-care. I'm like, nah, you need to go. You need to do this. So I go once a quarter and I cannot wait. Like I was so ready.
Girl, so I can so relate to that because we went to Nashville like last week, right? And so for spring break. And so my husband went. And so like now that, just real talk, now that we're on these spiritual journeys, it's like there are other things that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go see, the Parthenon with the whole, 20 plus foot, whatever, statue of Athena and all that. And he's like, I'm just sit outside. Like, but it's like, I got a little, attitude. It was like, come on. So then when we go in, then we have this whole experience, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but it wasn't until like, what were we watching? Like the Avengers or something like that. And there was like these little signs. Cause like now as you're awakening, you see certain things, right? And so I was like, you see that right there? That's actually what was on Athena's shield. And I pulled up the picture and he was like, oh. So it's like, yeah, girl, they won't be ready to go at first, but then into the flow about that.
Yeah.
But that protection is real because I'll say this, like when you're probably like earlier in your journey, like for me, protection could be, I'm just not going out. Like I'm just stay out. But then eventually, you're going out, you got, you're being the light and all that. And so I've come up with more techniques, like how you said, like the saging and all that.
Yeah.
So a new one actually just came to me like 2 days ago. And look, I just got me some new crystals. It's the whole Merkaba.
Oh yeah.
And so it was like I realized the whole chariot of ascension, and that was like another, like spirit guide came in and was like, okay, you're going to another level. So now you need another level of protection around you. So now I'm exploring that. But I think like each level as we ascend, that is going to call for new levels of, protection on all of us. And so that's something I think that, we each should be aware of is like what might have worked before, like, oh,
right. You get to that point where like, nothing's working, right? That right, moment right. You're like, nothing's working.
So true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you might have to increase that level of protection on that. So it doesn't always just stay the same.
That just gave me like a beautiful aha moment. I'm like, yes, those moments where I'm like, why isn't anything working? I'm doing all the same. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was like definitely an aha. Thank you. And talking about self-care, you say sometimes you just stay in. I realized during the pandemic, I was always looking for like, what am I going to do for self-care? What am I going to do for self-care? What am I going to engage in? And what I realized is my biggest self-care tool is doing nothing. Is actually disengaging, not making a plan, not leaving the house, not engaging in anything, just doing nothing. I used to feel like, oh, I'm running around and, I should go get my nails done or, oh, I have to get my hair cut. Like I'm the woman who's like, I don't want to go sit in the salon for 2 hours. Like who wants to do that after I worked? And so what I wanted to do is go home and sit on the couch in my pajamas. And I always was feeling sort of guilty about that on some level, right? On some level until I realized, no, come on, what this is. This is your self-care. And we keep telling everyone, like, you have to do something for your self-care. Well, what if doing nothing is your self-care? That's like another thing for me that was, pretty powerful for me to give myself permission for it to be that is my self-care, and it means doing nothing.
Yeah.
Too often we define that as being lazy, right? Everybody just kind of steps back when you say, right? It's like, oh, if I'm not being productive, if I'm not doing something, right, then we're being lazy. And
we're
then
always doing something.
Guilt there.
Yeah.
Right. It's that work product, something off my to-do list. Then I'm, you know, but if
badge of honor. Hey, what's going on, Kelly? Oh, I'm so
the hustle
busy.
mentality, right? We want to be successful. If whatever, you got to hustle. So much BS. So much BS.
Yeah.
One thing so when you talk about things changing, think of it as a season, right? You don't want to wear like 3 sweaters in summer, whereas you might want to wear them in winter. The seasons are changing. So recognize when you need to take those layers off, put those layers on. And something else to protect your energy is not going into agreement with other people. So I remember being at the grocery store. It was like rainy or something. And this guy, I was behind this guy, and he looked to me and he was like, "It's a crappy day, isn't it?" And I just remember standing there and just staring at him, because I'm like, I'm not going to agree with you. And I'm not going to challenge that you feel it's a crappy day. So I said nothing. I didn't know what to say. And then he just like turned around, and that's when I realized, I don't have to agree with other people's stories. Wow. That's big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what I'm doing is not engaging. So it's not passive. I'm choosing not to engage. I think that's, again, it's the to-do list. It's the hustle. So maybe if I change the words around it, I don't have to feel like I'm being lazy or feel guilty, right? Because I'm actually doing something. I'm accomplishing something that's really big, in fact, because like Cherise said, our energy, right? Our energy is the most important thing. And me taking steps to protect that and make sure I'm full, replenished, whatever I'm needing in that moment, that should be top of my to-do list every day. That should not be lazy, guilty. That should be priority number 1. What am I doing? I'm protecting my energy. I am doing something. I'm protecting my energy. And it feels better. I think it feels like I'm being more proactive than saying, well, I'm doing nothing. No, I am. I'm protecting my energy. What are you doing today? I'm protecting my energy. Jairus, you've been quiet. Anything you want to
laughing at Kenny in the comments?
Jairus is all over the comments.
Kenny said there's no amount of crystals that can get rid of these fools.
Yeah.
I'm with y'all 100%. I mean, I'm at that point now where, like I said, I'm not letting nothing, get me off my vibe, because I've been, I was wearing my energy and my vibe right on my shoulders. So if anybody, something small, getting the attitude, that's not me. So I had to kind of relook at myself to say, okay, what's going on with me? I can't control what the people do around me. So that's just the kind of the spill and the phase that I'm in. And it's working well because I'm just in the celebrating spirit. Like I said, I got my birthday and all that stuff coming up. So it's like, as I'm learning to just feel good about that, I'm just going to take that energy and that mindset with me, into this year. A friend of mine was telling me, I forget, he was like, this is my year of wisdom and refinement or something. I don't want to misquote him, but I kind of get it now. It was like, I'm awakening. I'm understanding who I am. I'm understanding my emotions, my stress triggers. And I'm also understanding how to navigate through people. Like somebody said, everything does not deserve a response. So that's just a spill on me and y'all.
A friend of mine described it as, we all have our hula hoop, like our own hula hoop that we're, doing our thing. And we just have to maintain our own hula hoop and not let anybody else, if someone is super crazy, we all have our own space, right? So don't let somebody else's crazy hula hoop mess up your hula hoop, right? You stay in your vibe, centered, grounded, whatever. Don't let somebody else's craziness impact yours.
Right.
I think that image really helps me sometimes.
See, Kelly, you done took us back to childhood. You used to hate when somebody hit your hula hoop. I was in such a rhythm. You messed up my rhythm.
Just stay in your own rhythm.
Yeah. I'm gonna
How about the ones with the bees? You know, the bee sound, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, one question I have, because I remember being at the beginning of it, right? And okay, yes, I want to protect my energy. Yes, I there's a universal energy. It flows. It goes between people. I have my own. I need to be grounded. I need to be centered. What wisdom can we impart to people who maybe aren't this far along, haven't been in touch with their energy for as long, don't have those protection rituals and places to start? So I think that if everybody has, wants to just share some wisdom, share some suggestions, because my hope is there's someone watching who wants to embark on the journey and maybe just doesn't know where to start.
I would say you have to ask yourself, because you all are deeper than I am. So let the rookie go off first. I would say you have to ask yourself, same thing I ask myself. Are you tired? Are you tired of the rain? As my aunt always asked me. She said, you're not going to make a change unless you get tired. So you have to understand, are you tired? Do you feel like you have enough energy to continue to give in or put up with whatever situation that you have going on? That would be my suggestion. Ask yourself, do I want to make a change, or do I want to keep going the way I'm going? Now I'll leave it to one of you ladies. But y'all got the crystals and the moon rocks and the sage and the incense. I'm kind of behind y'all.
Well, that falls in line with the old story that I've heard before about the whole dog on the porch. Y'all heard about that one? Dog on the porch. So yeah, so there is the senior guy, and there's this dog laying on the porch by his rocking chair, and he would, the dog would just make this, and someone kind of come up and was like, well, why is your dog always doing this? And he's like, because he's laying on a nail. And he's like, well, why don't you do something about that? He said, well, the owner of the dog is like, well, once he gets tired of that pain, he'll get himself up and move. Until then, he'll just stay there and just keep wincing because the pain doesn't hurt bad enough yet. Right. So many times what happens is that we don't make a move, we don't do nothing until, you know what? I'm tired of this pain. I'm ready to get up and do something different. And so that's what I visually thought of is when you say that. When you get, as they say, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you open to something new. You ready?
Yeah, I have like 3 steps, but 3 things that go together. Very much in line with what everybody else has said in terms of, for me, it's like, when does the unknown of stepping into something different, right, outweigh the known? Like, when does the known become something that you're terrified of staying in, right? That it's intolerable, something like that shifts, and you rather take that step into the unknown. The other thing that I recommend is asking yourself the question, what am I still getting out of this? Because if you're stuck in the old way, you're still getting something out of it. And sometimes that's really hard to admit or find, right? No, I'm staying here because I'm scared. No, I'm staying here. Right? But what are you still getting out of it? Because if you want something to change and it's not, despite your best efforts, then you have to ask yourself, what are you still getting out of it? And my third thing is, if you can find a fierce guide, someone who, really can, I mean, I don't have the words for it, but you'll know when you find your fierce guide, find someone who really can help you along the way to grow and expand and make you engage in more curious, thoughtful, self-introspection, asking yourself those questions, really becoming aware and growing in that way. That would be the other thing that I would say for people starting out, for sure.
I will add, I like what you said, Jairus, because you gotta be tired of kind of going through that. And I think there's an awareness that needs to come between negative and positive. And if you're just starting out and you can decipher, this feels negative, like, oh, it's Monday, negative. It's Tuesday, negative, right? Like you can start to eating this cake, positive. Okay, I like that. When you start to like kind of make that list And then, you know, that comes with, okay, I'm ready to change. And God in the universe is always listening. So when you ask for that, it's going to show up. Now, how it shows up is not how you can decide. Like it's that story of this guy that was in the water and he's like drowning. He's like, God, send me a boat. And the God sends a fish. He's like, go away, fish. I'm waiting for my boat. And then God sends a dolphin. Get out of here, dolphin. And, you know, then he sends a whale. The guy's like, get out of here, whale. This is not the true story, but it's basically the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then the guy drowns and he goes to heaven. He's like, why didn't you send me a boat? He's like, I sent you all these other things. So, you know, I think that it's going to show up differently for everyone. So just know when you ask, hey, I want more money. I want a different job, or I want to be more connected spiritually, or I want to do this. It's going to show up sometimes instantly and sometimes a few days after. And so when you ask for this change, be open, which is why it's important to know where your negative and positive are, because you'll be able to kind of decipher that. And I love how you said how did you say it, Nancy? The guide, the third one?
Oh, a fierce guide.
Fierce guide. That's 100% true. It's like when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Mm-hmm.
It's so true. So listen, start to pay attention to wisdom. Even if you're not ready to make those changes, start following people that you see as teachers, as guides, and you'll learn through the frequency of what they're saying, what's calling you the most. And if you're not ready, you're not ready. That's just, and be fine with that. But if you're ready, it's going to change. I mean, it's going to show up.
I think anybody who's been there, it's like, oh man, like when I got there, not only did I get one fierce guide, right? There was all sorts of, like you said, whales and fish that showed up in my life. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that the universe matches my efforts. I'm grateful that I don't need to know what it looks like. Nope. You know, I'm grateful that I'm comfortable with the awareness. You know, it's not necessarily easy to get there. And sometimes it's, you know, you gotta roll up your sleeves and be willing. Like I said, being aware means you're going to feel it and you're going to be in it and you're going to, you know, but it also means you're going to be in it and you're going to feel it. And it's great. It's, you know, like amazing. At the same time, you start to grow and expand. And like you said, Charisse, is like, wow, when you start focusing on the positive, you look at every situation, but look at, you know, find the thing that's going to lift you up, that's going to, you find one positive thing, even if it's, you know, it seems minor, it's huge to find that thing. There's always something. There's always something.
And another thing everybody is.
Go ahead, Jerry.
No, Kelly, you better go ahead.
Well, you all said it, but you know, I think checking in, number one, is just like checking in with yourself, like consistently, and saying like what I'm about to do or the situation that I'm in, how is this making me feel? And am I operating out of fear, like you said, Nancy, or out of love, right? Am I doing this because I'm afraid of something, or because there's like fear of failure or making somebody upset or whatever, you know, rejection or whatever? Am I operating fear or am I operating love? Checking in with ourselves and asking that question first, and then going into the situation with intention, right? Whatever it is, like making sure that we go into this situation saying, okay, this has a tendency or has a potential to trigger me in whatever way, and going in with a really strong, powerful intention and saying, you know, I know that this person or this situation typically has a tendency to trigger me in this way or that way, and kind of going in knowing, hey, I'm in control, right? Nobody can, I'm in control of my own hula hoop, right? I'm in control of my own attitude and my own perspective, right? So going in, knowing that and being aware of it and saying, you know, no matter what happens, this is where I'm going to be. I'm going to operate out of love. So I don't know. To me, that's a big thing. And that, you know, then you get into like setting boundaries and things. I was going into a sin and I realized I was operating out of fear. I was supposed to take a flight tonight, and I was like, and I was just afraid that I was going to upset a client if I didn't hop on a flight. And I was like, you know what? This is not operating out of love. I'm stressing myself out. I can say no. It is okay to set a boundary. It is okay to say no. And man, I feel so much better. So much better. Right? So we check in with ourselves and say, what am I doing right now? Am I operating out of love or fear? Step one. Step two, this is my hula hoop. Mike's joining us.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
Mike.
Hey.
Hello, Mike.
Oh, some of my favorite people that I had to come see because I missed everybody so much.
There's always space on the island, as we say.
This is my version of human connection, and I really missed it today.
Hey, Mike. Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
I call Charisse the human light bulb.
I tell her every time after I've been with her, I can't even describe it. I feel like taller and bigger and like just totally expanded into like my whole complete space. Like it's amazing.
Making me blush, y'all. I love it.
For some reason, when Charisse and I speak, it's always at inconvenient times for both of us. and it's like we have escaping children, escaping lizards, like all sorts of crazy stuff.
The iguana?
Yeah, the iguana. Sorry, not lizard.
No, it isn't, but it's not an iguana.
I call it an iguana, but it's a lizard. It's a whatever it is.
It's a bearded dragon.
Bearded dragon.
It's a bearded dragon.
It's always the most inconvenient times, but I think we both walk away from the conversations laughing at ourselves.
Yeah, I adore my conversations with you, and it doesn't matter what time. I mean, I think that there's always going to be. I have 5 kids. Like in any moment, we can get a special guest.
Yeah, well, I just locked it in. I don't need any more.
Well, and those are the right moments for you guys to talk, right? That it's happening when it's supposed to and the way it's supposed to, and you both walk away feeling good. So there it is, right?
Yeah,
it's always an adventure.
It is.
So I was listening to you guys talk, and I really have FOMO, right? Like I've missed you. I miss this so much. I do, right? Like, being live.
You didn't trust me, Mike, huh?
Of course I do, but you guys need to understand. I'm 1,200 miles away from everyone, so.
Okay, but Mike, before you go into this, I think you need to share your perspective of why you weren't here and why you're coming in now, because we know, but nobody else understands what's going on. So number one.
I said it on the 2 lives that I did this week.
Say it again.
So here's the thing. Like,
say it again.
In January, In January, my thyroid started acting up, and I got blood work done the beginning of February. We had the ice storm, snowstorm, dragged out getting the results until March 3rd, and coming off the high of the court date and really being grounded and embodying my full self. I was riding like a spiritual high almost, to where I just completely avoided my physical needs and taking care of myself. And now my thyroid is kind of cannibalizing me. So I'm basically in slow motion, and my whole body is just fried. It's just, for anybody who doesn't understand a thyroid problem, when your thyroid is off, and I have Hashimoto's, so it's hypo, not hyper, it basically slows you down to a crawl. It takes away all your energy. Your heart rate slows down. It constricts arteries, and your organs don't get the blood they need. So every function in your body starts getting off and triggering you. And somewhere between 7 to 10 days ago, it just got really bad. And then 4 days ago, it got horrendous, to the point that it's just almost unbearable. I've cleared my whole schedule. I don't do much of anything except sit around and wallow in physical pain, because the muscle weakness, the complete muscle fatigue. I have to get blood work. I have to get an ultrasound. I have a lot of stuff that I have to do. My meds were upped, and they're not sure what it is right now, because it doesn't make sense what's going on with the thyroid. So they're looking into it. This time it was truly a medical ailment that just burnt me out, and it's literally zapping every part of my body. Yes, I'm still a single father of 3. Yes, they're still being taken care of. Yes, everything's getting done that they need. The thing is, when they're not around, I'm pretty much sleeping. Um, so them being in school is my nap time. It's that's why I took a break from many things. Almost every show that I have, and hopefully with the new medication, with the medication upgrade by Monday, I can go back to my normal scheduled shows. And thank you, Nancy. I'm working on taking care of me the best I can, and it's not very easy to do. Um, Taking care of myself is not, it's not first nature for me, right? I always want to be there for everyone else. I always want to lift everyone else up and bring out the best in everyone, and point out the things that they don't see in themselves, right? And sometimes I forget to do that with myself.
Yeah.
And this has been a real struggle for me, because it took isolation to a new level when I just started losing energy and not being able to do what I do on a daily basis, which is be there for others, right? Because that's what fuels me in so many ways. Um, I'm very grounded, I'm very centered, and that's awesome. But I have no energy for anything. Um,
It's the universe saying that all that energy that you give to others, right, which is amazing and beautiful and healing, and there's this wisdom and uplifting and educate, so many things that you are and you do. You're giving it to everyone else and you're not giving it to yourself, and it's not sustainable. This is what the universe is like. I'm going to not sit down before I knock you down, right?
Yep.
We all feel the tired before we get to the I need to sit down right now or my face is going to hit the floor.
Your suit has said enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
And so while I hate that you're feeling this way and would never want you to feel this way, maybe consider that this is it's time to take care of Mike. If you want to take care of others, you need to take care of you.
and I'm pretty sure it skipped the sit down phase, because this is way beyond sit down.
Well, I don't know that you felt it because you were drinking a ton of coffee. You had so much going on. Even if it just being busy, we sometimes don't feel it. It's like how kids will run, and then they're done. They're out cold, right? Sometimes that happens to us as adults too. And so you miss the, hey, you should probably sit down. Hey, I'm going to ask you to sleep in an hour. Hey, your body's messages to you. And it's always the shitty way to learn it, but I'm sure everyone here has gone through it the way you're going through it. Not the exact same symptoms or the same reason, but allowing ourselves to get so depleted that really we have to stop and take a break so that we can, replenish our own energy.
Mike, this is the first time I'm hearing this. So I just want to send you tons of light and love to you, because that's a lot, and I understand. And I appreciate you sharing that again. And all I'm saying is light and love. That's what I got. That's what I got for you in the highest form. Something a little more tactical. That word is icky to me, but I just said it.
Proactive?
I don't know the right word.
Okay.
I don't have the right word for it. While I was on my solo retreat, I was gifted another night by the people that I was the Airbnb that I was staying at. And I used that day. I was like, I'm going to get so much work done. And I have this list. It's 52 things that I listed out that I needed to do. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm whining. I whine to my mom a lot. Y'all just so y'all know, I whine to my mom a lot. I'm like, I don't know how to do it. She's like, Sharice, why are you working on a Sunday? Go out there. So I did. I went out and explored and found this amazing bookstore. And I didn't set this up. It just so happened to be here. But this book I found called How to Not Always Be Working was so amazing. I read it cover to cover within a few hours. And when we push ourselves, when we push our bodies, they tend to manifest in different ways, and we will get these signs. That doesn't mean that you won't go through it. But I honestly believe that when you get through whatever it is that you're dealing with, Mike, you will have this new awakening and you will be able to help thousands of people because you will help them avoid what you're dealing with. You will use this in such a positive way. I have no doubt. But until then, light and love, and do not, learn how not to always be working.
And I'm so grateful that you're here, Cherise, because Felicia, I think you knew as well that this was going on. So we're jumping in from a different point. And I think Mike needs exactly what you just did.
Yes.
So, thank you.
It's, look, I'm really stubborn, right? Like beyond stubborn.
Yes, you are.
As we know, I'm pretty close to invincible, but it doesn't mean that I won't spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair with all my organs in Ziploc bags. So, I've got to find a way to just exist right now. And it's almost as difficult as it was in the very beginning. Like, it's like in some ways, I feel like I'm back to the beginning of this whole process. Not spiritually, but emotionally and mentally, because this is testing everything I am. My mind doesn't stop, and getting it to stop now is way too easy because it can't focus, right? I have cloudy brain. It's really a pain in the ass. Coffee does nothing. I'm drinking 1.5 gallons of water a day, and that's really doing nothing other than forcing me to stand up a bunch of times a day. This process sucks ass.
So Mike, were you on the show earlier when we were talking about the signs and Teresa was talking about the boat and being able to come and help? Like, do you literally see Sharice was talking to you, talking about love and light, and the girl has a rainbow on her face talking to you. Do you see this?
Yes.
There are no accidents.
No. And the symbolism of the rainbow is like when God destroyed the whole earth and he come back and he's like, I will never do this again. And this is my promise to you. It's like what you're
you walked in at the time when you walked in, when you came in, and we're talking about protecting your energy and you pop in. No accidents.
Oh, you mean this isn't a coincidence?
No.
I'm just kidding. I mean, look, I live on synchronicity, right? Like, I'm a smart ass. I make jokes. I play games. Try to make light of things just because I'm always so serious. But the reality is this is happening for a very major reason right now. And this needs to happen right now for me because I know what's coming next for me. And it's so big that if I don't learn to pace myself, I'm going to blow myself up. And I know that, right? Like, I just hit a breaking point and I ignored all the signs. I ignored all the warning signs. I ignored every sign that was coming my way that I was hitting this.
That whale, that fish.
Yeah. I mean, whatever, everything, right? Humanity, the manatee probably flew by my head, right? Like, I mean,
where is he?
Like, I mean, all these things. I mean, like, over the last 2 weeks, who knows me to say how tired I am? Like, I don't get tired, but the last 2 weeks, like, it's nonstop. Like, I never had enough energy for anything, and it just kept getting worse and worse day over day. And I just ignored it. Like, I was having issues with my kidneys a few weeks ago, and I started blaming it on drinking too much coffee. Now, granted, I was drinking too much coffee, but the reality was, my thyroid was slowing down my heart rate to where it was constricting blood to my organs. This is serious shit, right? And I just ignore it because sometimes I just remember that I'm always pretty invincible, right? And I've survived everything, right? Like, nothing has ever taken me out completely. Kelly, you're making me dizzy.
Trying to stop it from covering her face.
Oh.
It's
been a very interesting learning lesson, and there's so many lessons in this, right? Because even though I have no strength, I'm still there for my kids. Even though I have no energy and I have no anything, I'm still pushing through. And it's just, there's so many lessons here, and there's lessons of fortitude, overcoming, and strength, and resilience, and pulling your head out of your ass. Which is probably the biggest lesson, is removing my head from my ass, that I need to listen to.
Can I use a bit of birth analogy here?
Sure.
Are you guys good with that? You know, PG-13, rated R. I don't know.
You can go R. Who cares? Go X. Go X.
So in birth, in labor, there are different stages of labor. The almost last stage of labor, right? Like right before the head is about to come out, there's this thing that women go through called transition. Transition is the worst part of labor. Contractions, okay, breathe, do your Lamaze, whatever. Transition, the only way I can describe it is the most isolating, the most questioning moment. You're like, why am I doing this? I cannot do this. What am I doing in this now? Get me out of this whole situation. And what happens in labor when you go through transition for a non-medicated birth is you don't realize that the baby is like right there. And I always like to think that the transition happens also in non-birth or not physical birth. And so sometimes we'll be going through life and be like, why is this happening? I can't do this anymore. I can't take it anymore. What's going on? You are going through transition. I had a very close friend of mine go through a wicked divorce separation. And she was just like, why is all this stuff happening? And I told her this story of transition. And I said, get a piece of paper and write, I am in transition. Transition is not a bad thing. It doesn't feel good though, but it's not a bad thing, because what transition is doing is it's taking everything within your body, everything within your ecosystem, and allowing you to birth something so beautiful, birth life in so many ways. Now, what's one thing to note about transition, especially in our American culture, is we tend to numb the transition. And this is no shade in birth. Usually when you're in transition, you can't get the epidural anyway, but it's the epidural, it's the fentanyl, it's the alcohol, it's this, it's whatever you can try and do to numb that transition. So what ends up happening is you don't go, your body doesn't compensate. The things that are around you are kind of shut out. You don't really hear you don't see the whale, you don't see the fish, but you got to still birth that baby. So what I've seen happen is there usually is a tear, because you don't know, your body's you're not going through that natural transition. And I will tell you, the recovery of a tear, of an episiotomy, is way worse than if you just didn't have that. And so I'm talking physical and also non-physical birth. Everyone goes through transition. The key is to know when you're in transition. So my signs are, I can't do this. Oh, when Otis pops up. So Otis is my negative voice. So I named it Otis. Otis pops up. You can't do this. Who do you think you are? Why are you trying so hard? Nobody likes you, blah, blah. Chill, Otis, chill. I'm just in transition. Let me birth this baby. And so I'm very mindful of the fact that you are in transition, and you will birth a baby. You will birth something, like I said earlier, of deep significance, but you must go through this, and it's not going to be comfortable. And it's very interesting how that transition works in our lives, in birth and in otherwise. So I have no doubt that you will get through this. And I'm ecstatic to see the birth that comes out of this, because what you just shared was like very, very deep and very heavy. But no, the universe never leaves us in void. So I'm very excited again to see that, but again, holding space and sending light and love to you at the same time.
Thank you. It definitely feels like my head's being squished through 9 centimeters. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that. No, and I appreciate you all. I mean, I do truly, and I love you guys, and you know, I tell you guys all the time how much you guys all mean to me, and it's just, it sucks, right? Like right now just sucks, and it is what it is. It's just shitty. So I'm pushing through the best I can, which means taking a step back and allowing, which is such a strong point of mine. But it will become it, so that's fine. I appreciate you all. I'm getting out of here because I'm getting a headache again. I feel the pressure kicking in already. And
there you go. Protect your energy.
have a good night, guys. I love you all, and I miss you guys.
You too.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.